Former First Lady Imelda Marcos secures temporary liberty after posting bail for graft conviction. President Rodrigo Duterte now in Papua New Guinea to attend the 26th APEC leaders meeting.
In all indication, nararamdaman na natin sa sitwasyon ngayon, nakita niyo naman, no? Na yung pangyayari noong 2014 ay nandirito. Pupuno ang pier, hindi makakagalaw ang mga truck.
And truckers and brokers all set for a truck holiday set to be staged on Monday. Former First Lady and Ilocos Norte Representative Imelda Marcos was granted bail by the Sandigan Bayan following her conviction on 7 graft cases. May Bermudez will tell us why.
The Marcoses are on all-out support when former First Lady and now Ilocos Norte Representative Imelda Marcos appeared before the Sandigan Bayan today to avail legal remedies following her conviction in 7 graft cases. Marcos took the witness stand and explained her absence when Sandigan Bayan 5th Division handed down the guilty verdict last Friday. She claims she's not aware about the promulgation of the court's decision on November 9. In her affidavit, former First Lady cited health problems such as multiple organ infirmities, hypertension, dizziness, and other ailments, and her doctor advised her to avoid strenuous activities.
May sakit siya at saka hindi niya alam.
During the hearing, Justice Rafael Lagos quizzed the former First Lady on her attendance at Imy's birthday party in San Juan City, the night after her conviction despite her supposed health problems. Nonetheless, the anti-graft court has yet to rule on Marcos's motion, but once again deferred the issuance of an arrest warrant against Marcos and required her to post 150,000 peso bail for her temporary liberty.
We are glad na binigyan siya ng bail.
Apo.
Ayan. Yung motion namin hindi pa grant.
Former CHR Chair Eta Rosales said, "This is prolonging the long overdue incarceration of Imelda for the monumental graft committed during the time of Marcos dictatorship." Former Solicitor General Florin Hilbay says, "This clearly shows the double standard and anti-poor justice system in the country." National Union of People's Lawyers also criticized the court's action in allowing Imelda to post bail. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
President Rodrigo Duterte is now in Papua New Guinea after attending the ASEAN Summit in Singapore. The Philippine ambassador to Papua New Guinea says Duterte is not only there to attend the 26th Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC leaders meeting. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte has arrived at Jackson's International Airport in Papua New Guinea after more than 6 hours of air travel straight from the 33rd ASEAN Summit in Singapore. The president is joined in by his economic managers to the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC meeting until November 18. He is the first Philippine president to visit the southwestern Pacific nation.
You know, the visit of the president here, not only to attend the APEC, but it is so important for the relationship of the two countries. In fact, the excitement here is does not only involve the Filipino community, even the Prime Minister himself.
Together with the president are some members of his cabinet, namely Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin, Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez, Presidential Spokesperson Salvador Panelo, and Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar. First in his schedule is a meeting with around 8,000 members of the Filipino community. Based on the report of the Department of Foreign Affairs, there are around 40,000 Filipinos working and living in PNG. He is expected to attend on Saturday, November 17, to the APEC Leaders Dialogue with APEC Business Advisory Council and the Pacific Islands leaders. On Sunday, November 18, he will join other world leaders in the official International Monetary Fund Dialogue with leaders and to the APEC Leaders Family Photo. This will be followed by a leaders retreat and leaders working lunch. As for the latest update on the agreement between the Philippines and PNG on rice production, Ambassador Tejano said a 25-hectare rice plantation is now in the process as part of the deal.
This is our first time to see this kind of growth. And the local people are also excited and hoping to see this succeed.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue.
U.S. Vice President Mike Pence assures that the United States will continue to sail and fly wherever international law allows, after saying that the South China Sea does not belong to any one nation. The United States has conducted a series of freedom of navigation exercises in the contested South China Sea, angering China, which says the moves threaten its sovereignty.
The South China Sea doesn't belong to any one nation, and you can be confident, Mr. Prime Minister, the United States will continue to sail and fly wherever international law allows, and our national interests are advanced.
China, Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam, and Taiwan all have claims in the South China Sea, through which some $3 trillion of shipborne trade passes each year. Pence on Thursday told leaders on all of the Southeast Asian nations there was no place for empire and aggression in the Indo-Pacific region, a comment that could be interpreted as a reference to China's rise. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources and the Bureau of Customs vowed to swiftly act in resolving the controversial garbage shipment issue from Korea. Kathy Maglalang tells us why.
Officials from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources and the Bureau of Customs assure they are now working to immediately resolve the issue on the waste shipment from Korea that was dumped in an area in Tagoloan, Misamis Oriental. BOC spokesperson Attorney Erastus Sandino Austria says they are probing those involved in the issue, including the consignee of the said shipment.
You have to look at the entire transaction, of course, no, and really straighten out get the real facts, so that we can hold the people responsible liable.
Containers with about 1,500 tons of garbage arrived last July 21 at the Mindanao Container Terminal aboard the vessel MV Affluent Ocean. The shipload, declared as plastic synthetic flakes, was said to be consigned to South Korean company Verde Soco II Industrial Corporation. Initial findings showed that the shipment contained used batteries, dextrose tubes, and diapers.
Inaccurate naman po yung gano'n na statement, no, na maluwag ang customs, kaya po tayo nalulusutan ng basura. Sana naman na wag natin payagan yung situation na nagiging isang malaking tambakan ng basura ng ibang bansa ang bayan natin, 'di ba? So kaya po ito actually hinuli ng Bureau of Customs, no, na dahil bawal ito, obviously, na hindi ito dapat ginagawa.
The BOC says the importer and other parties involved in the issue will likely face multiple charges for misdeclaration of goods and for violating environmental laws and the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act.
I hope that in the future, no, our stakeholders will not be complicit to committing something like this. And if our own personnel are also involved in it in any way, like I said, whether by willful misconduct or negligence on their part, no, to properly scrutinize these transactions, they will be held responsible, and they will be held liable for this, no, both the airing stakeholder as well as the airing Bureau of Customs personnel.
The Eco-Waste Coalition has expressed dismay over the matter, which comes amid the still unresolved issue of waste from Canada that has been languishing in the country.
Hindi pa kasi natatapos at nare-resolve yung nangyari na pagtatambak dito ng Canada garbage. Ito na naman at meron na naman kasunod na mga basura mula sa mayayamang bansa na mapupunta at tinatapon dito sa ating bansa. Hindi kami natutuwa dito at lalo na at ito ay sasabi natin hazardous waste.
The DENR is now looking for ways on how to send back the waste shipload to South Korea. Kathy Maglalang, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Civil Aviation Authority is confident that they can monitor 99% of the air transportation system in the country. JL Asayo will tell us why.
The CNS ATM or Communication, Navigation, Surveillance Air Traffic Management System is expected to enhance the safety and efficiency of air traffic and airspace control in the country. It is the upgrade of air traffic equipment from old radar system to a more enhanced air navigational system initiated by the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines. Prior to the system upgrade, flight reduction has been coordinated among Philippine-based airlines and the Airport Coordination Australia to ensure safety and to expedite the said transition. It is said that communication between the ground control and the pilot using the old system was being done in a conventional way. Radars cannot show the actual location of the aircraft while the plane is in transit. With the new system, lessening the flying hours is much possible as the ground control can give clear and new shorter routes to every destination.
So yung flying time, ang target natin, umigsi man lang siya. Okay? And ang magandang bahagi pa nun, yung green, 'di ba? Very tayo sa global. Pagka kasi shorter ang flying time, ibig sabihin, less aviation gas na bine-burn. So less carbon emissions sa air.
The ongoing system upgrade is affecting arriving flights from November 15 to November 20. 4 flights will be deducted from every 40 arriving flights per hour. Excluded here are the so-called non-scheduled state aircraft and general aviation, which some numbers of flights will also be restricted. The CAAP Air Traffic Service head said the air traffic facility is treated as the heart of the Philippine aviation. She clarified, however, that the ongoing system upgrade is not the direct solution to ease the congestion in the airport.
Halimbawa, naglanding siya. Ilang minuto ba siya sa runway bago makalabas? Sa ngayon, sa MIA, ang runway occupancy time, naka-statistics-wise it's about 1.3 minutes sa average. So, ibig sabihin nun, ilan lang talaga ang eroplanong pwede mong i-accommodate sa loob ng isang oras.
JL Asayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Up next on Y News. Qatar sets up support fund for migrant workers. Boracay Interagency Task Force steps up measures to monitor beachfront guidelines. And a hotel erected in a disused quarry set to open in Shanghai, China. Y News will be right back after this quick break. Welcome back to Y News. Here are the headlines.
Nagpabook na sila sa amin, nag-down payment na sila. So kami naman bilang as a travel and tours, nireserve na namin yung books nila sa rooms. Tapos, bigla na lang i-rehabilitation yung mga other accommodation. Baka mag-back out sila.
Local travel agency owners in Puerto Princesa City express worries over the possible impact of the El Nido rehabilitation to their businesses.
Hindi naman siguro kukonsumo kami ng ganung kalaki. Dahil pag tinitingnan namin po doon sa yung kontador, parehas din.
Maynilad consumers complain over unexpected hike in their water billing statements. And the Labor Department prepares cases against recruitment agencies that allegedly attempted to send minors to Saudi Arabia. Some local travel agency owners in Puerto Princesa City are worried about the effects of the El Nido rehabilitation of their businesses. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
Donna Lusing owns a travel agency in Puerto Princesa City for 7 years now, but she is now worried about the possible effects of the El Nido rehabilitation on their advance bookings. Majority of her guests book rooms on the beachfront. Lusing is worried that their advance booking might get cancelled since there are a lot of possible violations of the establishments near the seashore.
Nagpabook na sila sa amin, down payment na sila. So kami naman bilang as a travel and tours, nireserve na namin yung books nila sa rooms. Tapos bigla na lang i-rehabilitation yung mga other accommodation. Baka mag-back out sila.
On the other hand, Brenda's guests were not able to enter the lagoon in El Nido because only 500 people are allowed to enter the big and small lagoon every day.
May mga nagamit. Siyempre na-cancel yung tour nila, nakapag-mindset na sila na mag-tour sila that day.
Meanwhile, some travel agencies have found ways to offer tours in the prime destinations in the city.
Mostly ecological tours at saka wildlife tours yung ginagawa namin.
There are 50 establishments facing possible closure due to the violations in the 3-meter coastal easement policy. They were given until this weekend to comply and self-demolish. There will be a second dry run in El Nido on November 23 and 24, where only 40 tourists and 20 kayaks will be allowed at the small lagoon every 30 minutes, and 80 tourists and 40 kayaks at the big lagoon every 90 minutes. According to some tourists, the island is still beautiful, but loitering will not be prevented.
Siyempre, pag may bagyo natural, may aanod mo yung mga
basura po.
Basura. Pero so far naman, for this is the second day, wala pa naman kami nakitang basura. So, I think as long na lahat ay tumutulong na sa cleanliness nitong ng El Nido, I think it will be still continue to be a number one tourist in the Philippines.
There are more than 20 establishments already closed in El Nido for violating the law. DENR plans to conduct an inspection in El Nido on November 28. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Boracay Interagency Task Force steps up its measures to strictly monitor and implement the island's beachfront guidelines. Vincent Arboleda tells us why.
The task force overseeing the rehabilitation of Boracay is now making sure that the set of rules laid out to protect the island from unsustainable tourism practices are strictly being implemented. Since its soft reopening in October 26, the task force has regulated the number of people as well as the activities allowed in the island. Prohibited activities include beachfront parties, smoking, bringing of animal pets, and vending within the 25 plus 5 meter easement rule. To ensure that the rules are strictly observed, the task force plans to deploy more volunteers and so-called environmental warriors, but instead of just roving along the stretch of stations 1 to 3, a monitoring team will be stationed every 200 meters of the beachfront. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources says the move follows a survey which revealed that 88 to 99% of foreign tourists agreed with the island's current set of rules. The poll was conducted from October 31 to November 6 to 1,256 foreigners who visited the island since its reopening.
Kaya nagpuput up tayo ng 200 meters per team to implement guidelines and monitor lahat ng behavior na mapinagbabawal natin. Kagaya ng commissioners, kagaya ng mga nagbebenta na kinukulit yung mga tourists, yung mga nagkakabit na beds sa gitna ng beachfront. So yun yung mga yon, tsaka yung mga nagkakalat, yung maintenance ng beach.
Aside from tourist sentiments, the task force also sought the observation and suggestions of Boracay stakeholders on the island's new guidelines. Most of them noted the lack of proper lighting in certain parts of the beachfront, fearing that bad elements will take advantage of it to rob or cause untoward incidents against visitors. The task force, along with the Malay local government, has been working to install solar-powered lights along these areas. The Boracay Interagency Task Force hopes that these guidelines will be turned into resolutions by the government agencies and adopted into ordinances by the local government unit. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Boracay.
The Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System has green-lighted the request of Maynilad and Manila Water to hike their rates this month. However, several consumers are opposing the implementation of the rate adjustment. Nel Maribuhok tells us why.
Maynilad clients Tony and Libby Arellano were surprised upon learning about the current amount of the water bill. From the more than 1,500 pesos in the last 2 months, their current bill has reached over 2,200 pesos for November. The Arellanos have no choice but to pay the amount even if they do not understand half of the charges stated in the billing statement.
Yung nga po, hindi ko maintindihan ito. Environmental charges nga nakalagay dito. May charge sila na 330.
Hindi naman siguro kukonsumo kami ng ganung kalaki. Dahil pag tinitingnan namin po doon sa yung kontador, parehas din.
The Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System explains the latest hike is the effect of the recently approved petition the two water concessionaires. The MWSS approved 5.73 pesos per cubic water for Maynilad, which will be implemented by tranches within 5 years. For a household that consumes 20 cubic meter for Manila Water clients, they will now pay about 317.11 pesos from the previous 316.85 pesos. For Maynilad, they increased more than a peso. MWSS Chief Regulator Patrick Lester T says the rate hike was approved after thorough consultations and considering the utility projects of the two firms.
Majority of the projects are for sewerage, more than half.
T also says that the 20% environmental charges for residential area are actually too small as this will have to be budgeted for sewerage and watershed management.
Maliit pa nga po yan eh. It's cost more than that ang sewerage natin sa septage.
But the consumer group United Filipino Consumers and Commuters questions the rate adjustment. UFCC's Rodolfo Avellana Jr. claims the rate hike was approved and implemented without transparency.
Magkano na kolekta rito sa currency exchange rate adjustment? So ibig sabihin, kung gumagalaw ito yung pantatapal mo. So wala dapat sisingil sa ating mga water consumers.
The consumer group assures to closely monitor the negotiations of the MWSS and the water concessionaires regarding the water rate hike. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
A consumer group reminds public to exercise caution when shopping online amid a rise in cybercrime cases. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
The holiday season is just around the corner and many people are scrambling to find products that can be considered as perfect gifts for their family, friends, and for themselves. Manong, not his real name, has been shopping online for 5 years, but he never thought he could become a fraud victim one day when he ordered a mobile telescope zoom lens to enhance his cell phone's photo and video feature. He paid 1,500 pesos for the item, whose photo sure looked good in the site, but turned out to be phony when it was delivered. He tried returning the item but he could no longer trace its online seller.
Akala ko okay, saka maganda yung quality. Ngayon, nung dumating sa akin, sabi ko, ba't ganito? Ang sabi sa akin ngayon na nag-deliver, tanggap lang raw sila ng bayad. Kasi yung delivery ito eh. Ngayon, nung kinontak ko yung third party, hindi rin sumasagot. Ngayon, pati yung pinagbentahan nito na site sa Facebook, wala sumasagot.
The internet has made shopping simple and seamless. Just visit an online retail store, browse through its goods, and add 1 or 2 items on your cart and click to buy. But what people do not realize is that the internet is also littered with online swindlers just waiting for you to click their sites. And with the upcoming holiday season, scam artists will surely be working overtime to rake in money. So how can you avoid becoming a victim of e-commerce fraud? Based on the list offered by consumer group Laban Consumer, an online shopper must start by answering these questions. Is the site secured? Consumers should only shop at reputable, legitimate online shops and always exercise caution when transacting online. Is the site reliable? If a website asks for a personal account, consumers should create strong passwords using a combination of numbers, letters, and symbols. You do not want to deal with data breach from hacked sites. Consumers should also avoid making an account using public Wi-Fi, as this connection is vulnerable to hacking. Is the offer too good to be true? When shopping online, check the terms and conditions of the offers or products, especially the policy on refund and return. A sign of a credible online shop is the availability of a dispute mechanism. Consumers should also expand their choices and shop around, but only through reputable sites. Online shoppers are also advised to be wary of rock-bottom prices and take note of delivery commitment. It is also better to pay through cash on delivery, but if using credit card, avail of a secured payment facility and avoid cards with high credit limit. Consumers should also look for online shopping protection or insurance.
Kung credit card ang ginamit mo,
meron kang statement of account, tignan mo baka may makapasok yung tinatawag dyan na compromised amount. No? I-report mo agad.
Consumers should also avoid purchasing food and luxury items online.
Una, baka hindi tayo sigurado na tama yung expiry date na inilagay doon. No? O yung best before date. No? Kasi hindi mo naman nakita. Tapos baka hindi mo alam kung ito ba homemade. Ay yung mga items na luxury, yung po masyadong mamahalin, huwag po natin biglang sa masayit. Temptation yan. Diyan papasok yung tinatawag natin kaninang phishing or snipping. Maamoy ka o masisilip ka, uy, malaki ang amount ng credit card nito.
If you found yourself scammed, report it immediately to the Department of Trade and Industry, National Bureau of Investigation, and the Philippine National Police. If erroneously charged, quickly call your credit card company. It is exciting to order items online, but remember the experience can be devastating when a fake seller steals your money. With these tips, you can be more careful from becoming an e-commerce fraud victim. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Labor and Employment is now preparing cases against recruitment agencies that have attempted to send minors to Saudi Arabia. In line with this, a task force will be created to prevent the spread of illegal recruitment cases in the country. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
In spite of the repetitive reminder and warning of DOLE, the POEA and OWA not to communicate and transact with illegal recruiters, there are still a lot of Filipinos, especially minors, being victimized. Recently, the POEA and OWA were able to save 24 minors who were about to be sent by illegal recruiters to Saudi Arabia. Their documents show that the ages indicated in their passports were fake. This is the reason why DOLE and its branches are preparing the cases to be filed before the Department of Justice against the 19 recruitment agencies which victimized the minors. DOLE is also planning to check whether these agencies have cohorts inside the department.
We cannot avoid that there are also connivance from within.
Based on the report of the POEA from June to October 1 this year, they were able to save and help 156 minors that fell victims of illegal recruiters to get back to their families. The agency is in close coordination with the DFA to require the applicants to submit a certificate as proof of their real age.
Bago ka makakuha ng passport, kailangan may dental aging muna na certificate to determine kung minor ka or hindi.
Meanwhile, the Department of Labor and Employment created a task force against illegal recruitment, human trafficking, and recruitment of minors. This is because of the continuous and widespread cases of illegal recruitment operations and human trafficking of minors. The task force will be composed of OWA, POEA, Bureau of Local Employment, International Labor Affairs, and Bureau of Workers with Special Concerns. The task force is set to launch a hotline for complaints and reports against illegal recruitment in the country. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Qatar set up a support fund for foreign workers who run into difficulties, which is the latest in a series of UN-backed labor reforms. Under the newly approved law, a support and insurance fund will be set aside to support and care for workers, secure their rights, and provide a healthy and safe work environment for them. Migrant workers are also entitled to receive benefits determined by the Dispute Resolution Committee, including repatriation and financial assistance when their service contracts have ended. The law covers workers in private sectors and household service. The measure is expected to benefit more than 200,000 Filipino workers in Qatar. The move is part of an agreement signed by the Gulf state with the United Nations Labour Organization to oversee reforms following intense international pressure over its treatment of migrant workers. More than 400 Filipino workers register for the first multi-sport tournament open to all Filipino community groups in Thailand. Kath Dumaraos tells us
sports-inclined Filipino workers in Thailand now have the chance to compete in multi-sport categories with the recently opened D-Money Cup 2018. More than 400 Filipino players registered for the tournament, which kicked off on October 28 at Ekamai International School in Bangkok. Basketball, volleyball, badminton, and other Filipino fun games will highlight the sports tournament, which will be held during Sundays until December 9. The D-Money Cup is the first multi-sport tourney that is open to all Filipino community groups. This was organized by Thai-based D-Money Transfer Company in collaboration with Filipino community groups in Thailand. It is aimed at bringing Filipinos together, build a strong relationship, and provide an avenue for Filipinos to play sports.
When we approached key members of the Filipino community, we asked them, what is it that hasn't been done before, but you would like to have happen? And they said, we love sports.
Ang buhay abroad ay minsan masaya, minsan malungkot. Sa ang aming layunin ay mabigyan ng kasagutan yung lungkot na nafe-feel ng ating mga kababayan dito kahit in a short period of time lang.
Philippine Consul General Val Roque, who graced the opening ceremony, hopes the tournament will help further solidify the bond of Filipinos in Thailand.
Itong mga events na ganito, events that can improve the camaraderie of our Filipinos here in Thailand, no? Unity and also their sense of community.
Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue, Bangkok, Thailand.
Up next on Y News. Tropical depression is seen to affect the country next week. A hotel in a disused quarry is set to open in Shanghai, China. And UNTV's dive team explores sites in the world's second largest atoll in Occidental Mindoro. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Angelo III. Good evening.